Hello, everyone. Welcome to the Advancement Center here in Santa Barbara. It is so wonderful that we meet, and it's so wonderful for me to recognize each and every one of you in our world of magic and miracles. Today, it's almost a blinding white sky. And we're just so grateful that we're far away from the fires here in California. And we hope that wherever you are, you're safe, very safe, because you are loved. And today is all about honor, respect, and love. Yeah. Things of this world that we focus on and are necessary for our lives and achieved, and they're all achieved, by the way. We have everything that we need. But that which we do not have or haven't achieved do not appear in our lives if we don't stretch past everything and look into what seems to be a blank spot that has no information at all. I wrote these words this morning and I realized, what am I talking about? And I'm talking about the willingness to see beyond our focus, the willingness to see beyond what we've been trained to see. And it's very exciting and new for a lot of people. Yeah. And I wrote here, there is no method to follow, but everyone knows exactly what to do and how to look for the contents of a world that has no description. A slight trace of gold soon led people to venture into the earth, sometimes with solid information and some with just a feeling that would not let them go. Have you ever had that? A feeling? There's no justification? There's no way to explain it? This is a feeling that just hangs on and will take you where you need to be, and your actions will be far from the social standards we have grown up with. That's my experience as I look back and all around. My own family, my friendly disputes on Facebook. I honor and respect each and every one of you for having found and followed your spirit right here, right now. And where do we go from here? For those of you who were blessed by Robert's broadcast yesterday, and for the several new friends who have joined us today, I feel impelled to share these words that surely elevates this platform of living that we are standing on right now. I know I want to hear them. I hope you do too. Adventures Adventures with the Unknown every Sunday was introduced over 2 years ago here at the Advancement Center. The unknown must be an integral part of the physical world and not just listening to someone else expound, but recognized on a daily basis in our lives, and telling of the magic and recognizing every miracle. And this is what Robert spoke about, which bears rehearing. We can reason with ourselves to try to figure out what we're connecting to, but it doesn't really show up in our scope of knowledge. It shows up in our feeling of completeness and our ability to handle the magic that we feel is part of our being. And when I say feel, I don't mean that's an opinion. We actually have the ability to feel every channel open, new channels opening, and the manipulation of our own personal channels to achieve what we want in life and beyond. We're active in every field, including interplanetary fields, intergalactic, multidimensional, and whatever else you can think of. And they're all available right now to everyone. And they're different for each person. So when you attempt to think about it, all you can do is smile and say, wow, that's a bit freaky, but it feels great. And then the feeling of, well, if it's so impossible, why do I feel so good? If it's so impossible, why do I get a buzz each time I go there? And after a while, the brain settles into, well, it must be okay. And he adds, for many years, I've spoken about numerous variations in our world and our connections and our abilities. And not once have I repeated myself, because what you have now is always much more than what you had a second ago. If I spoke about something last year that sounds familiar, it's already updated by a field that exists right now. And I'm going to state publicly that my life has changed since yesterday. Everything looks different. Everything feels different. And I realize how many layers and layers of, I want to call them cellophane, because you could see right through them, and they're just floating away. It's hard to describe that, but it is a feeling. And the most important attribute every one of us has is to trust your feeling. No one can tell you what and how you feel. It comes from the depth of your being, and it is always right on, even if you don't want to agree with it. And of course, that feeling is your best friend, your spirit, who has never not been with you. I've often spoken about, pardon me, I've often spoken about the naturalness of a little one who shows their feelings at every moment. You know when they're happy, you know when they're perplexed, and you know when they're dancing with their spirit. Isn't it wonderful to know that about children? I didn't know that intellectually when David was about 4 years old, and he's my son, and he was standing in the backyard just looking. Now, in retrospect, I wish I could talk to him about that, but that's too far out. But in retrospect, I know that he was communicating and he was being communicated to. I also know that he's been a very deep thinker. Maybe that's not the right word, but considering, because when he was 16, in a moment of freedom, he said, you know, sometimes I feel I can see the whole universe. If I knew then what I know now, I wonder what I would have said. So, but let's talk about us. Let's talk about our family right here. And it is expanding. Every time you share a miracle or a coincidence, which is a miracle, or some magic that just seemed to occur out of nowhere, you enjoy it, your listener enjoys it, and it just catches fire. That's why we're here. To enjoy, to communicate, to show care, to feel another one's experience. Just being together. Where there has been so much stress on being an individual, getting to the head of the class, succeeding, and that's not what it is. It really isn't. It's the fact that everything we're thinking, doing, feeling is affecting everything. The entire universe is always listening to us. I don't have any trouble saying that because I know how fast things change. I know how responsive everyone is. Whether or not they verbalize it doesn't matter. I can watch the sensitivity growing because it's being allowed to show its love. Its excitement. And every time there's something wonderful, it should be celebrated, not passed over, looking for the next something or other, but to value and see the preciousness of each one. There's something else that happened as of yesterday as I edited the transcript of Robert's broadcast. I could not focus on anything in the world news, on Facebook. No. And a very, very dear friend of mine gave me this.
That's not our world. No, that's not our world either.
That's what happened to me. I'm so glad I have that button. We have other buttons, but that one was appropriate. So what are we going to do now? We're going to watch, we're going to receive, and we're going to have our antenna open and waiting for the next moment. Everyone talks about the future, but the future we see is colored by where we are. But if we just take ourselves out of the picture of the one looking to figure out what the future is holding and just be and allow the future to approach with all its beauty and its grandeur and everything the universe has in store for us, we'll see something coming toward us that is so much greater than we could ever have imagined. And that, of course, leads me to the word of expectant. We're all expectant. I know the thrill of being an expectant mother. I loved every moment. People thought I was nuts. I loved it. I ran up the steps of the hospital. I was so excited. So we all have our experiences. But the most wonderful thing is when we share them. And we share our response to each other. And I have one response for David, another response for Vidi, and everybody has an individual, universal story of how each one blends. And I think what's happening is magical because we have people all over the globe tuning in at this moment. And at this moment, you are all one. One with your Creator, one with your spirit who took you here, and one with your own beingness. So, as I said in the beginning, this is all about respect, honor, love, caring, and gratitude. It is my pleasure to speak about all these things of wonder. Some people call them the unknown, and some people call them themselves. You are magical. You are a miracle. You are a very good friend. And I'm so glad you joined me today for this short interlude of sharing. So thank you for coming. And we here at the Advancement Center are all joining hands and wishing you a perfect life, perfect health, and a truly magical future. Thank you.